So I've got a professional welder here to do some welding for me and to test out the new machine, the CK MT200. And let's see what he thinks about it. All right, so what do you think about this MT200 machine?
It's really nice, really nice. Super sharp, crisp arc, really powerful, snappy. From the factory, they put in these light blue markers on all the different functions, and it's essentially like a sweet spot for you to like start at that point, and then you can adjust accordingly to fit your style of welding. It's also got a nice pulse feature on it. The pulse goes up to 200 hertz, or the frequency goes up to 200 pulses per second. And that's awesome. And that can be used in many different applications. I use pulse a little differently. I like using pulse kind of like a metronome to keep me in time with my dabs. And I'm used to a welder that would like go down to like 0.4, 0.3, like like a fraction of a second. And that just helps me stay in time to where I don't have to necessarily manipulate the foot pedal as much to get the puddle to do what I want it to do. The machine's going to do it for you. This one, however, only goes down to 1 second. So it's a little too fast for me, but it's still nice that it goes down that low for you.
So the timing part of it is could you time it for every other pulse or whatever type of thing to kind of adjust to where if your speed's slower type of thing? Is that something you could do?
But you could skip a pulse and let the base metal heat up just that much more and do every other like every other time it pulses, you can dab, and go along your weld and do what I was talking about just then, with this machine, no problem. But then, like I said, it goes all the way up to 200, and that just sounds like a pissed off bumblebee. It's going crazy.
All right. I also want to add something. If you're new to welding and you want to start getting a TIG welding or even your MIG welding, I have this really cheap unit for MIG welding. It's worked for 2 years and it's a very good unit, basically Amazon thing. I started out with a multi-unit because I thought that was going to be the best idea and the best buy because I wanted to learn really good and have a good machine to start with. Turns out that the multi-processor didn't do anything very good. Like, it done it pretty good, but I had problems with the MIG welder. Ended up buying that secondary MIG welder for a reason, because the unit kept messing up, and this was a high dollar unit. I think it was like $2,700 whenever I paid for it. So I ended up using TIG only. Come to find out that after I purchased the MT200, I realized that the machine kind of sucked at TIG welding too. And I didn't realize it until I actually got this machine. So the best way to spend your money is to get you the MIG welder. It's like $300 if you want to just MIG weld, and then invest into a really good TIG welder. And this one in particular has that sweet spot that he talked about. And that sweet spot basically is no matter what you weld, if you're AC or DC, it starts out at a spot the beginner is, and then you can learn how to adjust the knobs if you want to kind of tinker with it. But it'll weld great right in that spot. So as you learn, you can grow. I was really intimidated by the knobs and stuff on the machines, and this only has 5 knobs because most of them, whenever I was looking into it, had like 10 knobs. And I said, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to set up the machine and figure out how to get started. It's going to be a huge headache unless I get somebody that I know, how the TIG weld stuff, come set it up for me first and then do it. And I didn't know him at the time, so I didn't have anybody to do that for me. So that's the reason why I went with the multi-processor. But honestly, I wasted my money on that machine. Completely wasted it. Very, very disappointed in that process and getting a multi-processor. This is how I would have started to begin with, is the rig that I have now, which is a cheap MIG welder, because they weld so good as a MIG welder. And I'm talking about even thin sheet metal, you can weld with it really well. And then get a good TIG welder, which didn't even cost as much as the multi-processor unit. This is a great TIG welder. I noticed it as soon as I started welding with it. Instantly, as soon as I started TIG welding with it, it was definitely, I could see the difference. And Chris had set up this machine, the other machine I had, and welded with it and made a good pass, made it look good. But he's a professional and I'm not. And so having the machine that works better makes me not look like a professional, don't get me wrong, but it makes it easier for me to learn. A lot easier for me to learn, because now the machine's not is just welding better to begin with. So if you're a beginner and you're thinking about doing this, this is the way to go. This is the combination to have: the MIG welder and then the MT200 as your TIG welder. So how did it do with stainless anyway?
It did awesome on stainless. Obviously, we're using some pretty thick material here. What is this, 1/4 inch?
Yeah,
1/4 inch stainless, 304, or yeah. And we just used 332 tungsten and I think 045 filler metal, and it did outstanding. We welded this on 190 amps, and it just comes out super, super smooth.
There you have it. It's from a pro welder, as you can see by the welds.
Absolutely.
Actually,
CK is a bad unit, man.
Show you what I did here real quick. This is his welds right here, and this is mine. What a beauty, you know.
Practice makes perfect.
But anyway, all right. Well, you have a good one. Thanks for your support. Take it easy.